Are you looking to buy a home in the Seattle metropolitan area, but you want to know the top mistakes to avoid? Well, stay tuned. This video, I'm going to let you know the top 5 mistakes to avoid when buying a home. Hey everybody, this is Tova Williamson. I am a local real estate agent here in the Seattle area. On this channel, we shoot tons of videos of what it's like to live in the Seattle metropolitan area. So if those are videos you want more of, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click that little bell so that you'll be notified every time a new video comes on. So we honestly get reach outs every day from people that are moving and relocating to the area, and we absolutely love hearing from you guys and we love helping you. But we can't help unless you call or email or text. So reach out to us if you're moving or relocating to Seattle, and we'll help you. Give us a call, email, text. We got your back when you're moving to Seattle. Okay, so today I'm talking about the top mistakes to avoid when buying a home. Purchasing a home, there's just a lot involved in it. So this is something that just can help you guide you through the process of purchasing a home and the top mistakes to avoid. So number one is just not getting pre-approved before you start looking. I know a lot of people, it's so easy nowadays with like Redfin and Zillow to just like look at all these dream homes and just get really excited about homes. But unless you know like exactly what you can afford, it's really a good idea to just get pre-approved with a lender, especially preferably like a local mortgage lender. Working with larger banks, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but local mortgage lenders, all they do is mortgages. That's all they do. They know the area, they know the current market. Some of the bigger banks, they don't know the area. They might be licensed, they might be located in a different state somewhere else, and working in a different time zone. It's not always as good. They have other larger accounts going on. So your mortgage to them isn't usually like the top of their list. They have like all these other things going on. So communication isn't usually that good. And then a lot of times, like I said, they just don't really know the market and the area. So sometimes there can be like hiccups with that, with them just not kind of knowing what's going on here. Even if they are licensed in this state, they may not work a lot in the state. So preferably using a local mortgage lender is the best. They can usually be pretty competitive too with rates as far as banks. I know a lot of people get really good rates with their banks if they bank with them. So sometimes local mortgage lenders can match the rate or be comparable, but sometimes they can, and you just end up using your bigger bank too, which is not the end of the world, but it's just mortgage lenders are a little bit better, I think. So number one is, getting pre-approved and just knowing what you can afford before you start looking. You don't want to be let down. You don't want to be looking at houses that are like totally out of your price range and then get pre-approved and you're like, oh, never mind. I can't afford that. And then also when you're getting pre-approved, you're going to be talking to your mortgage broker about just the different loan programs out there. There's so many different loan programs that you can go. I mean, there's like conventional loans, there's jumbo loans, there's FHA, there's VA, there's USDA, there's all these different types of loans and different kind of loan products that they'll say. So it's good to just be aware of all those different loans and what, if you qualify for some of these things. There's also down payment assistance in Washington. So there's different programs for that. So if you don't have a lot of cash on hand, you might be able to qualify for some of these programs. So just getting in touch with a really good lender that knows all of these things and can help you and help explain some of these things to you is really important. And it's important to do before you start looking so that you have all your ducks in a row and you're ready to go. So number two, biggest mistake is just not using a realtor. That's me. I'm a realtor. I can help you. Or just any realtor that you use. A lot of people just think that they can like look online and maybe go to open houses and they'll just like write their own offer, I guess. But realtors that are experienced and work in the area, I mean, they know this local market. The market's constantly changing. I mean, we've been going through a really crazy seller's market here, and now it's kind of mellowing out and buyers are getting a little bit more leverage right now. So if you're not working with a realtor and you want to represent yourself, like you may not know that. You may not know some of these things that you can do in your offer to make it stronger or to help yourself. A lot of times, like previously, our market was like so crazy and buyers were waiving all of their contingencies and not doing inspections because it was just like so competitive. Well, now it's mellowed out and you can do that. You can ask for closing costs now. You can negotiate inspections, which was kind of unheard of even a few months ago. So that's why it's important to have a realtor that has their pulse on the market and they know what's going on and they can help guide you through, and they can get you into homes too, because not all houses have open houses. So there might be some other houses that aren't open. And if you don't have a realtor, you can't go in and look at them. And if you just think that you want to call like the sign of the listing agent to let you in, a lot of people do that, but it's like that listing agent is representing the seller. So they're looking out for their seller's best interest. They're not looking out for your best interest. So they might show you the house and say, oh yeah, I'll write up an offer for you. Let's do it, because dual agency is allowed in Washington state, but they're working for the seller. They're not looking for your best interest. So you really want somebody that's got your best interest in mind, and they can help you navigate the whole process from writing an offer to being under contract and all of the steps that you have to take, and then to closing day. So that's why I just think it's really important to have a realtor that's working for you, that's on your side. Number 3, I'd say, is just buying a house that you can afford and not really like understanding the costs that are involved with owning a home. It's definitely different than renting. There's a lot more costs involved with owning a home. You have to have down payment, closing costs, upfront costs. It's just extra money out of your pocket. This market, we are getting a little bit more into the realm of sellers paying buyers closing costs. Sometimes you can ask for that. It wasn't always that way even the past few years. So, but now you're able to get some of those costs covered by the seller sometimes. But I mean, you've got like taxes, you've got insurance, you've got utilities that you will have to pay. Some rentals, especially in the Seattle area, like water, sewer, garbage is typically included in your rent. Well, when you buy a home, you've got to pay all of that on your own. So it's just like understanding those different costs and knowing what's involved so that you're not like maxing out your budget and you have that extra money on hand in case repairs come. Oftentimes too, when you get pre-approved, a lender will pre-approve you for like way more usually than what most people feel comfortable paying. Like your max, like the lender, they just look at your debt to income and like kind of your like debt bills, like a car payment or student loans or credit cards where you have like, where you owe people money, but they don't look at like you needing to buy groceries and paying your electricity bill and all of your utilities. Like they don't take that into account in your debt to income ratios and when they're pre-approving you. So sometimes you get this pre-approval and you're like, oh, wow, this is like way more than I thought. But then you start looking, it's like, oh, well, that makes your monthly payment this amount and we still have to pay all of our bills, because from a lender standpoint, like you can turn off your electricity and not eat food as long as you can pay your mortgage. Like they don't care. So that's just something to be aware of, and just really knowing and understanding like your budget and what you're comfortable paying with, because you don't want to buy a house that you can't afford, that just because you're pre-approved for it doesn't mean that you can actually like afford that payment. So you don't want to like buy a house and then just be house poor and be eating ramen for years because you have this house that you can't afford. Number 5 is a big one that you just hear about, like horror stories from people, is don't apply for credit. Don't buy a car, don't quit your job, any of that, like until you close on a house. So once you get an offer accepted, like you are at the like mercy of the lender. They are like looking into every financial detail of your life. Like they request all of this documentation. So they're looking at all of those things. So don't, once you're under contract, like don't go max out your credit card on like new furniture and all of this new stuff for your home, because it could mess up your debt to income ratio and then just totally disqualify you from the mortgage, and then you'll lose the house. So sometimes you think that's a no-brainer, but people don't always realize that. So while you're in escrow and while you're under contract, do not make any large financial purchases. Don't co-sign on a loan for anything. Like I've heard stories of people like co-signing for their children to get vehicles while they're under contract. And it's like, you got to wait, just wait till you close. Don't quit your job. Maybe you like hate your job. You got to quit. Like you can quit the day after you close, but don't do any of that until you're actually like done with your mortgage process, because that can just like kill everything and you can lose your home before you even purchase it. And that would just be like no good. So you just got to keep your finances like mellow and calm until you close. Then you can like go crazy and buy furniture and buy all these updates for your house. But for the time being, you just got to like wait it out. So those are some of the top 5 mistakes to avoid when purchasing a home. Can be kind of a crazy roller coaster ride, especially in this market, but if you've got some of those top things down, you should be good to go. So moving to a new area can be really tough, especially if you don't know the specifics of the neighborhoods in the area, but that's what we're here for. We're here to help. If you're relocating or moving to Seattle, give us a call, email, text. We got your back when moving to Seattle.